Okay, let's look at notes on 9.4. We're talking about taking the quantities inside of square roots and squaring it. And this will lead us up to the next section, which will have us solving equations like this. So let's just get a little practice with this. So basically all they want us to do is to square each term. So here we are. Of course, if we square a square root, the square root and raising it to the second power cancel each other out, and you're just left with 5. Okay, so looking at number 2, notice that this time we don't just have a term inside of the square root, we also have a number on the outside of that. So that indicates that we need to distribute to both terms. So here we are. So we're going to distribute a square to the 7, and we are going to take the square root and square that. Of course, that's just going to give us 49 and x. Okay, it's not too bad. Let's take a look at number 3. Number 3, we're squaring 2 terms again. It makes no difference that on this one we have a variable minus a constant in there. It's not going to change anything as far as our order here of operations. So just remember, we're going to distribute 3 squared, which is going to give us 9. And then we're going to take x minus 6, that quantity, whoops, and square that. Alright, so of course 3 squared is going to give me 9. And then we're going to have x minus 6. The square is going to cancel out, square root, and we could go ahead and finish this up by distributing 9 to get 9x minus, and 9 times 6 is going to give you 54. Okay, so that's not too bad. Let's take a look at number 4. Let me erase some of the stuff we've previously done here. Give ourselves some more space here. Alright, and we have, this time we have our expression, we don't have the square root anywhere. We're simply going to square both of these. Now remember that you could FOIL this out, which takes a lot of time. Or not a lot of time, but it's certainly a faster way to do it. If you square it, of course, you're going to multiply the first term and the first term, and then the outside 2 terms to get a minus 4x. And then if you do the inside terms, you'll get a negative 4x again. And when you do the last 2, you're going to get a positive 16. So just to remind you of the shortcut that we've already talked about several times, when you have a binomial, which is what this is, a binomial, x minus 4, and you square it, you're basically just doubling. You're just doubling these 2 terms inside the binomial that are being multiplied together. So that's a negative 4x doubled, which is negative 8x. So I suggest that you get familiar with that shortcut again. And so when you FOIL a binomial, it's just much easier to square the first, which is x squared, square the last term, which would be negative 4 squared is a positive 16, and then multiply 2 times x times negative 4, and of course that would just give you x squared minus 8x, whoops, 8x plus 16. Alright, let's get a little more practice with that. Number 5 and 6. It's a little trickier here. You just have to slow down and think about what you're doing when you're squaring this. So when you square the first term, you have the square root of x squared, which cancels the square root out. The middle term is a negative 2 times square root of x times 2, because you're doubling it, right? So that would be a negative 4 square root of x, and then whenever we square negative 2, we get a positive 4. Okay. Hopefully that made a little more sense to you. Let's take a look at another example here, number 6. And of course we're just doing the same thing. We're squaring it, and we'll pick up the pace a little bit here. Here we have x plus 1. When we square it, the square root cancels out. And then we're multiplying 3 times the square root of x plus 1, and then we're going to double that. So 3 doubled would be 6. So we have plus 6 square root of x plus 1. And when you square 3, you get 9, correct? So let's see if we can combine any like terms. Sure, we can. We have a 1 right here and a positive 9, so that would simplify to 10. And this x cannot be combined with anybody, so we're just going to rewrite x plus 6 square root of x plus 1. And that's it. Alright, let's just do one more. Let's do number 7. Let's see if I can get a little more space here. Alright, number 7. We'll take this and square it. When you square 1, 1 times 1 is 1. And now let's look at the inside quantities. We're going to multiply these two together to get a negative 2 square root of x plus 3, right? Because 1 times negative 2. So we're going to change back to red. So we're going to get 2 times, whoops, the pen is freaking out on me, sorry about that. We have 2 times the square root of x plus 3. And then finally, whenever we square the last term, this is what we need to really slow down and think about. Of course, when we square a square root, it cancels out the square root. But you also have to remember that you're distributing that negative 2 squared, so that would be a positive 4. Alright, and we could distribute this. We have 1 minus 4 square root of x plus 3. And let's go ahead and distribute that 4. So we have 4x plus 12. And we do have a couple of like terms, or actually one like term. We have a positive 1 here and a positive 12. So we have 13 minus 4 square root of x plus 3 plus 4x. Okay. Alright, well that pretty much wraps this section up. Hopefully this helped, and we'll see you in